Well, I have got my friend Stephen Carey here from the office of U.S. Representative Charlie Crist in St. Petersburg, Florida. And it is a great time to have you here with us, Stephen. Thank you so much for joining us as a part of our summer leadership program this weekend.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I've also got Kim Bernstein here with us. Kim, thanks for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
And many of you know that Kim has had a long history, over 25 years of working with policy initiatives and working with congressmen and senators from all over the country, really to help so many people with advocacy. And so Kim and I were talking and just thought that this would be a wonderful time to talk a little bit about resources that you might not know about that could be right in your backyard with your local legislative office. And so, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about some of those things. And I'm really excited for people to get to know a little bit more about the resources with people like you that can help them get connected to their local representatives.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to take any and all questions. I'm the congressman's district director, and so that's, for people that don't know, every member of Congress has essentially two offices. One is their DC office, which is primarily their policy shop, the folks that help write the legislation, and then you have your local office, which is all things constituent service, and that's my office. Every member has a district director, has a district office that serves primarily to be a liaison, if you will, with the federal government.
What is it that maybe are some of the resources that your office can offer people when they're trying to navigate certain issues? What types of issues should they be reaching out to you for, and what's something that would be good for them to call you about?
Anything and everything, honestly. So there are things that we can help directly with, and then there's things that we're happy to help them put their best foot forward, even if they're going to a different office ultimately. So the number one thing that we do as a district office is federal casework. That is essentially, if you are if you're a beneficiary, or you feel that you should be a beneficiary of some sort of federal program, be it Social Security disability, Medicare, Department of Veteran Affairs, you get VA health care or, VA benefits, immigration, visas, passports, maybe you were a federal employee and you have an issue with your pension. To the extent that there are federal agencies, and there are departments upon top of departments upon departments in these agencies. There are a lot of reasons why you may need to interact with that government, and I think that for a lot of people that can be very daunting, because, and I don't know that it's necessarily on purpose, but a lot of these agencies are they're very convoluted, and I think that it's a very valuable resource to have somebody who works with those agencies day in and day out.
And what would you say is probably the best way for people to reach out? Is it email? Is it phone? Is it, how do people contact their local office?
I mean, you can do anything and everything. Email is real easy. We have a portal through our website where people can submit inquiries. All of those, get read. All of them get logged. All of them are responded to one way or the other. We do get a ton of correspondence, and we have a staff of 16 people, I believe, and it would be impossible for us to give a personalized response to each and every one of them. But we have templates for everything, and they usually, address any problems that would be tangential to whatever they're contacting us about. That being said, if they have an emergency issue or something that needs immediate attention, we make sure to flag those, and they get a more personal touch. They'll get a phone call or whatever type of follow-up is needed. That being said, any of these form letters that go out will include how to contact us, contact our office, and talk with somebody. You mentioned, what's the best way to get in touch? I think about, you know, if you're contacting a congressional office about an issue that you feel strongly about, you want to advocate for a change in the law or something like that, or even if you're just calling about, I have some problem that I really need help with right now. I still think the best way to do that is to make a phone call, and to request to speak with a member of the staff that is responsible for that issue area. It helps you immensely to really have a clear, sort of thought out message. Why am I calling today? Make sure it's organized. Show that you are passionate, but also you've given some thought as to what you want to accomplish by your call. It just makes it easier so that we can understand, okay, here's the things we need to do to kind of get you through the process, to understand how best we can help. To the extent that there are other people that are in your community that share your that share your opinion about a certain issue, the more voices that you can point to that are behind you, the better. And again, asking for a congressional staffer is the best place you can be. And then once you do have that meeting, it's about obviously relating to that staffer, why it is that you feel strongly about XYZ issues. And then personal stories really go a long way.
I wanted to know, right now, one of the biggest problems in Florida and a lot of other places is unemployment benefits, stimulus checks, and the extra $600, as well as trying to find other resources. The moratoriums are going to end, but if I'm having a problem and I have a lot of medical issues and I've got financial issues, and I've already reached out to everyone that's nonprofit and for-profit, if I call you and I know what I want, why you should help me, tell me what I can do to make it easier for you to help me on unemployment, stimulus checks, veterans benefits, and whether or not you can help, or is it state issue when it comes to unemployment?
So with unemployment specifically, unemployment is administered by the state of Florida. As you know, it's funded in part by the federal government as it relates to the CARES Act, $600. So it's sort of it's a hybrid, but because it's administered by the state agencies are the ones who are ultimately responsible for deciding whether somebody is eligible for unemployment or not, and then therefore what problems may be causing any sort of delay or denial. That being said, I don't feel that it's sufficient to say that it's a state issue, so therefore go somewhere else. We do give people all the resources that are going to help them to figure out the answers. Number one, if you call your state representative, they have kind of like I was explaining earlier about Congress creating the agencies that provide benefits like Social Security, VA, and so forth, and therefore those agencies being responsible for showing to Congress that they're doing the jobs that have been spelled out in legislation that created those agencies. It's the same type of thing on the state level. The Florida legislature makes the rules for how the DEO, the Department of Economic Opportunity, is to administer unemployment, and if they're not doing it right, then they may be looking at some kind of restructuring to make sure that they do. And so they're accountable in that same sort of checks and balances way.
I think a lot of people just don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just hard to know. Like you said, you called it the veil. That this tearing down this mysterious veil, and it's so true. Is that just having having the confidence to be able to reach out and knowing when to reach out. Just wanted to give you an opportunity. Is there a leadership quote or something that you really lean on or that you would recommend?
I think that a lot of people think of leadership as having all the answers to every single problem that can pop up in a given time. It's not that at all, and especially right now, working with government in the midst of a pandemic that's unprecedented, an economic crisis that's unprecedented. There is just a million things coming at you all at once, and no one has all those answers. But to the extent that you can lead your team to see that that we're all in this together, and that we're going to make the best decisions that we can, and I count on you to make those decisions too, and I count on you to supply leadership with all the best information possible, to the extent that you can kind of put people at ease, especially in a crisis. That is, for me, half the battle when it comes to leadership. And then it's just all about trust. And sometimes you're going to make good decisions, sometimes you're not going to make the best decisions. But I think that the extent that the people who are looking to your leadership can come away with a sense that that everything is at least on the up and up. There's a plan. We're working together. I think that's sometimes the best you can do.
I fully agree. Thank you, Stephen, for the work that you're doing and for the support that you give, not only to Congressman Christ, but also to all of your constituents and to us as well. We really appreciate you taking time out today to be able to help our folks understand more and more about how they can reach out to government as they're going through this really unprecedented pandemic, as you mentioned earlier. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Thanks.
All right, great. I'll talk to you soon.